Lavender Town's Pokémon Tower quest was absolutely traumatic. Right up there with Mufasa in The Lion King, Bambi's mama, and this tearjerker from The Land Before Time.
Dear sweet Littlefoot, do you remember the way to the Great Valley?
And while you probably didn't have the words for it as a kid, you could feel that something else was going on here. That Pokémon was showing you something far deeper than just horror and sadness. But what was really happening in Lavender Town? And more importantly, all these years later, why does it still haunt us? When most people think of Lavender Town, the first thing that comes to them is the music. Yes, that music. It didn't matter if I was playing under my bedsheets with a flashlight or in broad daylight. That music always felt completely unhinged. And yes, there are stories of kids doing really bad things to themselves when they listen too long, but thankfully, those are just Mew under the truck early internet rumors. But the music is just one piece of the puzzle. The entire Lavender Town Pokémon Tower quest actually begins when you enter Rock Tunnel, a completely blacked out series of ladders and caves. Now you can totally hack Rock Tunnel. You can just walk along the walls, that's pretty easy, but you're supposed to use HM05 Flash. And in doing that, you are literally moving through a dark tunnel guided by a blinding light. There's also a mythological layer to Rock Tunnel. You've all heard of Odysseus, right? The tragic hero of Homer's Odyssey? Well, to begin his journey to the underworld, Odysseus travels to Erebus, which is the darkness at the edge of the world. I'm sure it's no coincidence that Lavender Town just happens to be located right at the edge of the Kanto region map as well. Then there's the name itself, Lavender. Names mean something, my friends, I promise you. We all know towns and cities in Kanto are named after colors, and colors have meaning too. Pewter signals strength and prestige, cerulean and vermilion are creativity and energy. As for lavender, well, lavender is a color associated with funerals. It represents mourning. This color is telling you you've entered into some kind of a death ritual, something that's further reinforced by the layout of the town. I mean, just look at this place. There's a Pokemon Center, there's a Pokemart, there's 3 small houses, and then a 7-story tower filled wall to wall with Pokemon graves. Your first meaningful encounter in this place is with Gary, /blue/buttface. And this dude is off. His Raticate is missing too, and whether that means it passed away like the old game theory video suggests, you really don't have time to process it. Because after you beat him, you start encountering this wild, ghostly mist. Your Pokemon are so frightened, they can't even move. You just run, or you get your ass handed to you. And in that moment, whether you realize it or not, something fundamental has shifted. Up until now, the rules were simple. You battle, if your Pokemon loses, it faints. You go to the Pokemon Center, you heal, you grind on wild Pidgeys in the long grass, and you come back stronger. But here, in Lavender Town, that rule breaks completely. Here, Pokemon die. And like a little leech seed in your brain, the questions begin to appear. Wait, can Pokemon really die? Can my Pokemon die? Can I die? Where do I go when I die? What are these weird mist things I'm encountering? Why is Charmeleon so scared he can't even use Ember to defend himself? Should I have chosen Bulbasaur? When I confronted this section for the first time, I'm gonna tell you guys, it scared me. Like, it genuinely scared me. I just wanted to get out of there and get away from everything to do with that godforsaken Pokemon Tower forever. Unfortunately, Satoshi Tajiri had other ideas. You see, at this point, Kanto is effectively split into 2 parts, the explored and the unexplored. And the only way to get to the unexplored sections is by waking up the sleeping Snorlax blocking routes 12 and 16. And even when you beat Team Rocket in Celadon, you're left pretty frustrated because you still can't wake those Snorlax up. Just like Odysseus, we have no choice but to speak with the dead before we can continue our Pokemon journey. And even as kids, we knew it wasn't going to be pretty. For starters, there's Ghastly and Haunter. Being able to identify them with the Sylph Scope somehow makes the whole thing worse. Confuse Ray, Hypnosis, Lick, Nightshade, losing control of my Pokemon, getting stuck and disorientated, it only amplified the fear. And that was before I read the Pokédex entry about Haunter slipping between dimensions. Then the questions started again. Are Ghastly and Haunter ghosts of dead Pokemon, or are they something else? Is this what happens to me too? Are there ghosts in my bedroom? Am I too old to wake up my mum and ask to snuggle in her bed? And then we meet the channelers. Most trainers you've encountered up to this point talk about their bug collections or how they're going to lay a beat down on you, but these dudes are talking about possession. They're asking for blood. And my personal favorite, as a kid, I had no idea what this nightmare fuel was all about. Of course, when I Google it now, I can see that these people are supposed to be something resembling the Yurei. They're figures from Japanese folklore. They're tied to temples. Their job is to guide the dead to the afterlife. Here, though, they're possessed by whatever is haunting this tower. And only after we defeat them do they come back to themselves. And that's when it becomes obvious what we're doing here. We've come to Pokémon Tower to conduct a cleansing ritual, and our work is just beginning. I don't know what made someone think to put this monstrous tomb with ghosts and possessed shrine maidens like this in a children's game, but aesthetically at least, Pokémon Tower does seem to mirror multi-tiered Buddhist pagodas, structures you ascend level by level as part of a spiritual journey. As we climb up, we're not just winning battles, we're not just cleansing, we're also moving from innocence to experience. And just like in real life, that transition is a brutal one. Because just before the very top of the tower, you meet her, the ghost of the Marowak mother. And this ghost, she's in real pain, and you can't save her. You can only fight her. In later versions of the game and in anime tie-ins, this moment becomes far more developed. And yes, there are glitches to catch the ghost and mess up your save file, but even in the original Red and Blue, you could feel what was happening here. In defeating this spirit, you are, in a very real sense, freeing a mother from the pain of death. Now, I don't know what your experience with death was at this point in your life, hopefully very little. But if you had been touched by life ending, maybe without realizing it, Pokemon was giving you something else here too, a way of processing. Somehow, through all of this, it was helping you move through fear, confusion, confrontation, and acceptance. It was giving you a ritual for laying everything to rest. Because that's where all of this leads, to some kind of closure, but not before you face off against the darkest part of this whole story. Team Rocket aren't in Lavender Town for fun. They're not just causing trouble and making it double and all that goofy stuff, no. This is Team Rocket at their absolute worst. Team Rocket are here to harvest Pokemon. They're poaching them, killing them, taking their bones, taking their skulls, and selling them for cash. The orphaned Cubone, the dead Marowak, it's all because Team Rocket are murderers and butchers. And as a kid, that's a terrifying realization, because now you have to reconcile something else you never had to think about before. Not only can Pokemon die, not only can they come back as ghosts, but there are also people in this world, really horrible people, who will kill and dismember Pokemon just to turn a profit. It's heavy stuff. Thankfully, once the Marowak is laid to rest and Team Rocket is vanquished, Mr. Fuji appears, and the tone instantly shifts. Mr. Fuji's name is no accident, by the way. Remember, names mean something, my friends, I promise you. Mount Fuji is, of course, the highest point in Japan. It represents transcendence. Mr. Fuji takes care of poor little Cubone, too. He gives it safety and love, and by the way, his kindness is captured perfectly in Ken Sugimori's artwork from the original base set. Mr. Fuji also gives you the Pokeflute. And what does the Pokeflute do? It wakes Pokemon up, both in battle and on the adventure map. It clears what's blocking your path. The Pokeflute is probably the single most important item in this entire game. And there's another layer, because Mr. Fuji is actually Dr. Fuji. He's the founder of the Cinnabar Island Lab, and in all likelihood, the author of the cryptic journals you read in between falling through all those broken floors. He was the one who discovered Mew, and he likely had a huge hand in giving life to Mew too. In a town defined by death, Mr. Fuji signifies discovery and the creation of life. And if that wasn't enough for you, there's one more tiny detail you probably never even thought of. Do you know who else lives in Lavender Town? The Name Raider. That's right, one of the only other houses in this town is a place where you can literally rename your Pokemon. I told you names are important, didn't I? When you step back and look at it as a whole, Lavender Town isn't just a town of death. It's a town of rebirth. It's a place where, as a child, you are guided through some of the largest, most complex emotions you will ever face. And do you know the craziest part of it all? This whole story, the music, the characters, the myth, plus the entire rest of the game, missing no and all, it was all contained inside one 8-bit Game Boy cartridge. And maybe that's why Lavender Town still haunts us today. I'm Rob Does Pokemon. Until next time, my friends, take it easy.